This is where they split. This is where Lot takes off and goes to... Now, the word here in Hebrew is kakar, and that word means circle or disc. And when you go to the Southern Rift Valley, right north of the Dead Sea today, you will see that it looks like, when you're standing there, it looks like a great big disc. That's the kakar. You can still see it today. Jericho on one side, Sodom on the other. The remains of Sodom are clear to see. When I was in Israel, we were on the other side. We were on the Israeli side. And you can see the Tel. It's called Tal El Hammam. That's where Sodom is. You can see it across the valley. It's huge. Sodom was not a small place. Now, what's fascinating about this, I got to tell you this. So cool. They have discovered the destruction layer in the city of Sodom. It's 3 feet deep. I have in my office a small vial of the ash. It's really cool. Okay, so I call it my bottle of the wrath of God. But anyway, it's 3 feet deep. What we know now is that there was an atmospheric burst, a comet or a meteor, that exploded over that area. The evidence is everywhere in the area. It literally rained fire from the sky, just as the Bible says, just as you will read it here, and destroyed the city, vaporized it. I mean, when you look at the archaeological ruins, everything is just destroyed. I mean, one of them, there was a grinding stone about as big as this subwoofer here. And you can see it's knocked over and pushed across the room. You can see the scrape marks. So the blast was that strong. I mean, they don't find bodies at Sodom. They find pieces of bodies. They found a bunch of pieces last year, and they named them Bert and Ernie. And so they were digging them out of the ground. Just pieces. And charred on one side. Charred on one side, but not the other. It's fascinating. So Dr. Collins will give you all that. You're going to love it when he comes here. So Abram, however, this is before Sodom's destruction. He settles in the area around Hebron, builds an altar there. And the key point, I think, is this. Faith in God solves strife because faith leads us to be generous and self-denying, and God is pleased by our faith. Verse 10, Lot took a long look at the fertile plains of the Jordan Valley in the direction of Zoar. The whole area was well watered everywhere, like the garden of the Lord or the beautiful land of Egypt. This was before the Lord destroyed Sodom and Gomorrah. So that area, the river, the Jordan River coming down, would flood, just like it did in Egypt. Would flood. Beautiful soil was laid down. Then it would retreat. They would put their farms in there. And so it was a beautiful, beautiful area. After the destruction, by the way, there is a 700-year gap between the destruction and when people returned to that area. The area was so completely obliterated because the destruction was so hot, they estimated it punched a hole in the atmosphere, created a tornado-like effect, which pulled huge amounts of flash-boiled salt water out of the Dead Sea, covered anything that was over 3 feet high in salt, which is why Lot's wife was turned into a pillar of salt. That's a scientific fact. That's not just, I didn't just make that up. All right, verse 11, I think, is the key. And Genesis chapter 14.